Welcome back to another reading of the third letter in our series called Insane Solicitations. In our previous episode, we had the different kinds of writer letter, which went on for too long, had a lot of redundancies and things. But luckily for us, the letters get shorter from here. They get a little more stalkery and crazy and knock your socks off style of letters. So let's dive into this with no further delay. Here is letter 3 of Insane Solicitations. If you haven't seen the first ones, you can click on the upper left right corner there and it will go back to the list and you'll have some background as to what's going on here. Long and short, a few months after receiving the second letter, or not a few months, maybe like a month later, in late 2015, early 2016, I think it was late 2015 actually, I receive a letter from this person. Now, I've received 2 other letters from them before, so when I saw the name on the letter, I'm like, oh joy, another one! So let us go with that, and little could I have known that it would keep going. And a brand new letter was before me, and it is before you now. So let us read Insane Solicitations Letter 3. I'm back. Should we send out the search party? Harness up the dogs? Call missing persons? Dear Tantru, people do wander off, never to be heard from again. Since I've written you twice and haven't heard from you, maybe that's happened to you, and my letters are in a big, dusty pile accumulating on your desk. That's a run-on. You could have put a sentence there. Your assistant or spouse covers his or her face and fights to hold back the tears every time he or she has to come in and add more mail to the pile. Cobwebs are filling the corners of your office. Your children will soon notice. There'll be no one to give them their allowance. If you're there, though, I can only think of 8 reasons you haven't called me. Okay, so let's do a thing. Well, first off, it's narrative, fine. Make a lot of assumptions about the person you're writing the letter to. First off, I'm not married. Second off, I don't have kids. And third off, why the heck if I did have kids, the only thing they care about is that I give them an allowance? My gosh, this family has no love. It is merely an exploitive capitalist society of a family. You kids will work for money. That's our only relation. Kids will be like, fine, I just won't work. my dad's not, my he or she parent is not here anymore to provide for that. By the way, I dislike the word he or she. Just use they. Just use they. I am fine. I am absolutely fine with using the word they to describe an unknown gender of a person. Right? It's so much more succinct. It's so much more things. I know there are some. Now I know that's a point of contention. I know that's a point of like great debate. It's sort of like the Oxford comma. Only now there's more reason to pick a side on that, and that is like there are some people who are actually non-binary and are fine with having used the word they to describe themselves. And some people are even fine with having themselves called it. That's like some people are into that thing, right? It's fine. It's, language is fluid, right? There's certain fluidity to language. The only reason that you should have rules and structure is to make sure that you are actually conveying the things you wish to convey. Everything else is fluff piece, right? Mastery of something requires that you understand something to the point where you can deviate and do things that are against the grain or against the checklist, but actually improve things. But you have to have the knowledge to actually improve them. And that's the problem. That's the difference between breaking the rules for its own sake and doing that. But anyways, that's a whole other video and a whole other ramble. But anyways, just use they. And that is a run-on sentence in the first sentence. Since you have blah, 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 I heard from you. We'll go into the... Well, we'll try to keep it to the format of not doing that, but I will preview, I guess. Anyways, reason number 1. You really are thoroughly satisfied with the quality, service, prices, no Oxford comma, and other benefits you get from your present book / publishers that you just cannot imagine giving any business to anyone else. You love your book printer. If that's true, I'm actually happy for you. But I know my competition, so please hang on to my business card, ellipses. And when the day comes that your book printer gives you a headache, take some aspirin and call me. New paragraph without a line break. Why? Because we get it right the first time, every time. Because we care about you and your book and want your book to be the best it can possibly be. Because we keep our promises and meet our deadlines. Because our on-call service is second to none. I will say reason 1 sounds like a stalker girlfriend going, well, when she's not done, when she doesn't satisfy you enough, give me a call. Like, honestly, that's what I feel like with this. Reason 2, so there's 2 major big points that I'm about to make here on this. You can see the red stuff on the margins there, that my Rue character is obstructing a little bit, and I can fix that. Hold on a second. It's probably doing it in the last episode. I know it was doing it in the last episode, so we're just going to push myself aside a little bit. Shrink. There we go. That's perfect. Anyways, you'll notice these 2 big notes I made to myself here. We will go back over that when we're done, but for now we'll just continue reading. Reason number 2. You're sick of hard sell promises that far outshine what actually gets delivered. I don't blame you. I just hate it when the movie preview is 10 times better than the movie. I've never been there, actually. Well, we've been building our business for 23 years. I just realized something. Like, I just had an objection moment. 23 years. If you go back to the first letter, it says that their president has been in the business for 35. So either, is this the company that she's talking about? Because, the president, you said that the president had 35 years of experience. What were they working in before, I guess? I guess it's not an inconsistency. She's saying that the company's been around for 23 years. And that the president has been in publishing for 35. So he has 15 years outside of the current company. Never mind me. I'm just picking at numbers now. Anyways, well, we've been in the business here for 23 years based on something very, very unusual in the printing business. We've been building our business here for 23 years based on something very, very unusual in printing publishing. 1. Promises made, promises kept. 2. Employing expert professional craftsmen. They are so professional that they are a proper noun. Not kids from McDonald's. Hey, I know some kids from McDonald's who can write better than this. I'm going to flat out say it right here, right now. You are making a numbered list that has no formatting, lady. I think a kid from McDonald's knows how to do that better. I'm just saying. I'm standing up for the McKids, okay? You do not bring the McKids into this. Anyways, 3. Noticeable attention to detail and superior quality. Superior quality so superior. It is a proper noun. 4. Extraordinary responsive client service. So responsive that client service is a proper noun. Live people answering phone calls and speaking to clients. They are so live that people is a proper noun. Going the extra mile to look for potential problems and suggesting workable solutions, even when we are not asked to do so. But we don't care about this step as much as the others, and that's why there are no proper nouns. Anyways, reason number 3. You are still buried up to your ears in alligators and have intended to contact us, but we need to talk about the elephant in the room before we turn to the next page. You see that big old freaking white space here? So you know what? Remember that second video? Remember the second letter when I talked about inserting a line break and how it works? There's a way inserting a line break works, and there's a way that inserting a line break doesn't work. And this is something that, separates the formatting men from the formatting boys, okay? There is something, or ladies from girls or whatever, okay? There is something called a page break feature in most word processing documents. It is a button that you can click that when you have your cursor on a certain point, wherever that cursor is, when you click the page break button, it will take whatever is underneath it and it will push it to the next page. The boys and the young ladies and the other people will do what I did for many, many years, not knowing that the page break button existed, and that is click the end of the sentence of the paragraph, notice that the formatting is bleeding onto the next page, and wanting to keep the formatting fine and consistent with the pages, hit the Enter key multiple times to create as much new lines as needed. The problem with doing this is that when you do editing or anything else, if you end up hitting backspace and losing a line somewhere, the stuff that you pushed using the Enter key to the next page is going to come whipping back to the page that you're on. So literally what happened here is that something happened to make it so that this big old white space ended up at the end of this page. Where reason number 3 here is because I am dead sure that she wanted to get this part onto the next page right here. That she wanted to do that. Because that's a good thing. Because I mentioned that in the last video, that she had neglected to do that with one of her sections. This she tried to do it with, it looks like, but ended up hitting backspace up here somewhere and not noticing that this thing that she had used the Enter key to push to the next page ended up whipping back up here. So, whoops, because that looks even worse than if you had just left reason 3 here and let it bleed off the page. This actually looks a lot worse. In fact, it's noticeable. Most discerning eyes might not have noticed what happened in episode 2 there. But anybody with eyes can see this, okay? They're like, why the heck is there this big old white gap? So that's my theory as to why that is. There's also a second theory that has to do with this numbered list, but I'll go over that later. So this is reason 3 that bled to the next page, but also was a failed page break. All right, so reason number 3. What were we talking about again? Oh yeah, the reasons I didn't call her. Just so you remember, because it's been so long because I've been rambling. Anyways, reason number 3. You something about alligators, right? You are still buried up to your ears in alligators and have been intending to contact us, but just never got around to it. It's not too late. The free 52-point professional don't go to print until it's sure it's perfect. Evaluation of your book is still available, and the most funniest thing is that it is this very reason that she starts saying don't go to print until it's perfect is the flubbed reason on this letter. Is like the most glaring imperfection, right, in this letter is the thing that sells the don't go to print until it's perfect thing. I mean, did you guys perform the 52-point professional thing on your own letters? I'm seeing some glaring imperfections, and I'm not a professional editor. I just write news for a living. I just do furry news formatting for a hobby, and I just do I self-published a book, okay? So I do know a thing or two about it, but I'm certainly no professional. It's not the thing I do for a living. Though I do write technical documentation for fellow employees at times, I certainly don't do that. So, reason number 4 is it's already printed. Reason number 5, all you care is about an ebook. Number 6, you don't care about the quality of personal service. Number 7, you don't even write a book and you can't figure out why I'm bugging you. Reason number 8, you think I'm annoying with all these letters. You think they are highly unprofessional and just don't want any part of me. Don't worry, this is the last letter. It's not the last letter. You can use it as I am sure you have used the others, to start a fire, line your bird cage, make an origami dinosaur, or wrap fresh fish. Right there. She uses the Oxford comma right there. And by the way, she used one earlier in this letter, didn't she? Right? Is that true? I think it was either letter 2 or this one. This is a run-on. I don't think it was this one. I think it was the previous letter. So, like in letter 1 and 2, she does something what I call sans Oxford, which is not using an Oxford comma to close out your article. On this one, she uses the Oxford comma. That's that right there. In the previous letters, she didn't have that. All right? In the previous letters, sorry. I got to remember that my mouse is on the left screen or the right screen. Right here, right? This is improv. I'm doing it like she does. I'm improving it. I'm not going to edit that out. It's part of the feature. It's part of the class, right? That's the whole reason that she's like, "Oh no, man, this is part of the feature. It's not a bug. It's a feature." Right here, there's an Oxford comma right after origami dinosaur. So that's the thing that separates the or clause. But in the previous 2 episodes, in the previous 2 letters, she never used that. So, like, pick a side, lady. This is an important debate that we have, whether you use an Oxford comma or not. You pick a side and be consistent with it. I use Oxford. I do prefer this. Other people don't. And I do not... By the way, if somebody is anti-Oxford or doesn't like Oxford commas when they're writing articles for Flera or whatever, and I'm formatting them, I leave it alone. Because there are people who are religious about their preference on whether or not there's an Oxford comma. And I can understand both sides. As I said, if you want to, I can go over a whole video as to why people are so adamant about one versus the other. Because there really are good arguments for both sides. But we'll get, as I said, I won't bog that too much in there. So basically, you're annoying, these letters are unprofessional, blah, blah, blah. That's more than you know. And by the way, keeping your promises and then making a promise, like, it was like, we keep our promises. Like, what was it in the second page here? I'm gonna use the social guilt thing here. This is beyond grammar. This is sort of personal now, I guess. But promises made, promises kept. See that reason right there? Promises made, promises kept. Okay, you made a statement here. Don't worry. This is the last letter. That, when you make a declarative statement like that, which that statement is a declarative statement, you are declaring, this is the last letter. This is the final letter I am sending you. And it is not, because I can look back and know that it is not. That goes against this. Promises made, promises kept. There is not consistency in that. It's fine that you're going to send me a 4th letter, right? I don't care that you send me a 4th letter. This is gosh darn entertaining. It gets my brain working. You're giving me free lessons and free skill trade lessons on what not to do, okay? But you declaring that it's going to be your last letter and then sending me another letter is unprofessional and is not promises made, promises kept. Just saying a little bit. But if we finally broke you, you can watch these videos. I am clearly broken, but not in that way. You broke something, but not in the way that I want to use your services. If we finally broke you, we broke you, and you are ready to let us take a look at your book and see if we can help you make it exceed your expectations, then now is the time to act. I am not going to put the hard sell on you. Don't have to. I already did. I just want a chance to talk. Pick up the phone and call me at phone number here, or email me at email address here. Let's get this process started. If, after we review your book and present the results to you, we are not a fit for your needs, I will send you on your way with a smile and a thank you for the little money that we could get out of you. Anyways, we know that we can't help everyone. We can barely help ourselves. Take just a few minutes to carefully consider what I have said above. I think you'll agree that speaking with me makes good business sense. Call me or email me and let's talk. Sincerely, Crazy Publisher Lady. P.S. I am adding one more free gift to the other two I have already offered. The Is Your Book Press Ready guide. See the next page for a more detailed description of the free gifts. So that's also kind of bad business ideas. It's like, oh, if I ignore this lady, she's just going to keep giving me free stuff. Man, this is easy. Like, what will she give me for free if I ignore this letter? Anyways, I never read any of that addendum material or whatever. But anyways, so yes, to review the letter, everything is uppercased here. I'm not. This is not the greatest of sins, but okay, fine. As I noted earlier, he or she, his or her, just use their and they. It just makes the sentence a lot less clunky, and a lot more and more people, including dictionaries themselves, are fine with gender neutral they. I know it's still a big contentious thing because it's a relatively new thing. And back in 2015, it was actually we should think about the time period that this was actually printed in. In 2015, the he or she rules were a lot more ingrained than they are in 2020. In 2020, a lot they and their seen as a gender neutral pronoun is a lot less contentious than it used to be in like 2000s and things. It's language is malleable. Language changes. And this is something that a lot of people just sometimes have problems understanding. But it's like, we don't talk like Shakespeare, right? We don't talk Shakespearean language because that language is flowery and inconcise. And while flowery language might have been fine in the days where, you didn't have much to do and you had time to talk with people, and people weren't like working themselves to death and being too busy, like flowery language is fine. But now we're living in a thing where you're watching a YouTube video where I ramble about a 2-page letter for freaking 15 minutes or so because people are a lot less busy for some reason, which will not go mentioned in 2020. If you're watching this years from now, then you can look up history books and figure that out. If YouTube actually even still exists, it might not. This video might not exist in the future. Who knows? Anyways, we are all elephant farts in a room that just needs to open the windows. Anyways, as I said, reason 1 sounds like a stalkery girlfriend. Reason number 2. And this kind of goes into my theory about why there's also this big old white space here. Like, here's the thing, too. Like, maybe she was worried that there was too much white space, or I don't know. Like, there's clearly lists, but like these lists here, this bullet listed point with the ellipses separators. You know how you get rid of the ellipses separators? By the way, she loves ending every list element with an ellipses or beginning list elements with ellipses, and it drives me nuts. Why? Who taught you to do that? They are wrong. I am sorry. That is not what an ellipses is for. It is for dramatic pause. Fine. Oh, and by the way, up here in reason 1, she uses an M dash and then she uses an ellipses. Pick a side. Like, do you want to use the M dash or do you want to use ellipses? By the way, if you are a writer, the most useful thing is you hold the control key, hit 0, 1, 5, 1. Let go of control. That is how you make an M dash quick. I like M dashes. I prefer M dashes over ellipses. So that's sort of like the whole thing, man. It just it drives me nuts. It drives me up a wall. Pick a side. Pick a side with the Oxford comma too. Pick a side with M dashes or ellipses. Stick with one as a dramatic pause. Don't use both. I think M dashes look more professional. I think dot 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 is like basically a poor man's M dash. It's somebody who doesn't know how to create an M dash using the keyboard. But that's my personal preference, and I know that's a personal preference. What is not a personal preference is, and is just wrong in technical formatting, is this. Making numbered list elements and making them part of a paragraph, that is, pick a side. Here's the thing. You can pick a narrative style of flow, or you can pick a technical style of flow. They both have their strengths. They both have their weaknesses. Narrative is like a fiction book. You get into it. You're flowing with the things. Paragraphs flow to it. You are immersed in the world. You don't want to remember that you're reading. You want your brain to take over, your eyes to flow over the words to bring you into a world. That is what narrative flow is. This is sort of what this, like, usually when you see long paragraphs and stuff, like, you can kind of mix the two elements together, but you need to make sure that you're using them for a particular purpose. This is a technical document mostly. Like, mostly it is. And by the way, she has like a lot of short bullet points at the end. She could have interluded these short points, because now it just seems like she's being lazy, right? Like, not to be unfair, right? Because, maybe she these are actual reasons. Like, it's already printed, they don't do ebooks. I don't care about quality or personal service. Like, look in a mirror, maybe. Like, I'm being a little sardonic, but I've got to protect those McDonald's kids, okay? I need to protect those McDonald's kids, because McDonald's kids I could teach McDonald's kids better formatting than this. And I'm not an English teacher. So you have promises made, promises kept, employee, expert, professional craftsman. So you could put an enter here, put a new line here, indent 1, enter, indent 2, enter, indent 3, enter, indent 4, and stop abusing proper nouns. Please, for the love of God, stop abusing the proper nouns. I know that it's like, it's weird. It's like salespeople once again, maybe I'm probably not the target audience for this. The target audience is probably for people who are like probably at maybe like a high school reading level or something, or like in and around maybe like a middle school reading level, I don't know. But they love to uppercase words that don't need to be uppercased, and this is one of those don't break rules that don't need to be broken kind of things. Like, there is no reason to uppercase expert here. There's no reason to. Like, expert is not a proper noun. It's not even a noun. Like, I can understand uppercasing nouns if you want to put more emphasis on it, as some people do. Like, Trump does that crap all the time. It annoys the hell out of me, but I know why he does it, because it's effective. The German language does that. Maybe he likes German language for some reason. I don't know. The German language does uppercase all nouns so that they stick out in the sentence. So there are some languages that actually do that. I can understand why you might uppercase some nouns even though they're not proper nouns. And by the way, in those languages, if it is a proper noun, usually they're all uppercased. Like in the Bible, if you were to go to a German version of the Bible, God is in all uppercase, whereas all the other nouns are in uppercase first letter, lowercase remaining. What they call lead uppercase, I don't know what they call it. But basically, like, there's no reason employing expert, professional craftsman, notable attention to detail and superior quality, live people answering phones. It's like she translated herself from German to English right around here. Like, phones is not capitalized and clients is not capitalized, but clients is capitalized over here. It's like, oof, buddy. Just simple fixes. Enter, like, put new spaces here. And by the way, the most ironic part about this whole thing is if she had made these elements like their own lines and broken down the list so that the list were things, it would have pushed the thing down here. Obviously, the social thing that I noted with promises made, promises kept, and her indicating that this was going to be the last letter when it actually isn't. And I think that's about it. That, and I did mention earlier, like she could have interluded these shorter points into the thing. It's like the previous letter where it's like with all the points that she's trying to list out, it seems like she's running a marathon and then she just gets tired and then just wants to just throw out some bullet points, right? And it's like this is kind of like a salesman who's showing weakness, right? I'm not a marketer. I'm not a person who markets things. I know this because the book that I published that ended up getting me these letters didn't sell any copies other than the ones that I bought to share with people who contributed or review copies for people, okay? As far as I'm aware, I had no money come in from this. I am the worst advertiser of all time, apparently. But I do know this, is that if you're trying to discern reasons why somebody is doing or is not doing things, if you're trying to make assumptions as to why your client is behaving a certain way, and you're coming up with all these reasons in your head, instead of listing all the reasons out on a list, ask them questions as to why. Don't make assumptions and list the assumptions out. That is bad marketing tactics. Because you are saying that you know the person that you're talking to better than they know themselves. Inquire. Figure out why. Don't list reasons as to all the different possible reasons as to why, because there might be a reason number 9. And that reason number 9 being, I am finding these letters amusing, but I don't think you can provide the skill set that I need, because clearly those skill sets have not been applied to these letters. That is reason number 9, and I fall under that reason, right? So, anyways, there's a fourth one, and the fourth one, I promise you, won't be as analytical. It'll be very short, because it gets worse. We have built up to this point, ladies and gentlemen. We have built up to the fourth letter. You are not ready to come back tomorrow for the fourth letter. Are you? Are you? You're not ready yet. You're not ready yet. You're not ready yet. But let's do this next time on Insane Solicitations. The fourth and final letter. For reals this time. See you guys then. And get ready. Because you are not ready. You're not ready. You're not ready. Oh, by the way, kick a comment in the comment section. What do you think the final letter will contain? Actually, let's make a writing assignment. Write what you think the final letter will say. Why not? What do you think she'll do? What big errors do you think will be there? What do you think? Because I assure you, you probably won't be right. But anyways, if you like this kind of if you like this and you want to, kick the like button, but don't do it for the algorithm. Do it for yourself. We dictate the machines don't dictate us. Kick a comment in the comment section, hit the subscribe button and then the bell to get notifications of future videos. Just to be forewarned, most of my videos aren't in this sort of quirky format, so don't just subscribe to it if you like this kind of video. You can favorite this video or put it somewhere. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. Wow, we spent a half hour on a 2-page letter. I'm not anything but succinct, but I had a lot of fun. So I hope you had a lot of fun too. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you on the fourth letter, which I promise you will be quite short. I'm giving you that hint. I'm dropping that spoiler. It is a short letter. Have a good one, guys.